Hi scholars, welcome to this week's art video. For this week, we are going to be talking about the element of art, texture. Can you say texture? Texture. Texture is the way something feels. So when we talk about color and shapes and lines, we were looking at those things. But when we talk about texture, it's actually the way something feels, whether it's soft or rough or bumpy or scratchy or smooth. There are lots of different textures all around us in our world. So the first thing Miss Armstrong did was I went outside to find some textures. I'm going to show you some clips of what I found now. This is Lizzie. She's very soft. This is Lizzie's doghouse. The top of Lizzie's doghouse is really rough. Can you hear that? Tree, and the bark is very rough and scratchy. It's very scratchy. It almost hurts to touch. The leaves on this tree are very smooth. It almost feels like they have it has little hairs on it. It's very soft and smooth. The leaves on this plant feel very different from the leaves on the tree. They're very rough and scratchy. They might look smooth, but they're very scratchy. You can hear the scratchiness. The petals on this flower are very, very soft. Very velvety and soft. There's some water droplets on there too. The brick underneath this turtle looks very rough, but it actually feels very smooth. You can barely hear my finger touching it. The stuff inside the concrete here in between the bricks is rough, but the brick itself is very smooth. Here I have a cactus, two cacti, and they're very spiky. Ouch, ouch. Probably shouldn't touch them. I found this blanket over here. It's very furry. It looks like it would feel soft, but it actually feels more hairy and furry. Over here I have some pumpkins. They are very smooth. Wow, there was a lot of texture to find in our outside world. There is also a lot of texture you can find inside if you're not going outside. So the first thing I want you to do is go ahead and feel what you're sitting on. Maybe it's the ground, maybe it's a chair, maybe it's a couch, maybe it's the floor. Go ahead and see what it feels like. Miss Armstrong's sitting on a carpet that's kind of scratchy. Oh, but there's another carpet in front. Ooh, that carpet is soft in front of me. So I have two different kinds of carpets. What are you sitting on? Maybe you're sitting on a wooden chair that's really hard, but could be smooth at the same time. Maybe you're on a soft, cushiony couch. I don't know. See what it feels like. Texture is the way something feels. So today we are going to do some texture rubbings to see if we can make some designs from what we feel. So you can either pause the video and go on your own texture hunt and see if you can find different textures around your house. If you wanted to go outside, you need to find a grown-up first and make sure you have permission to go outside. Do not go outside alone. And you can look out in the outside world or the inside world and go find as many textures as you can find. If you wanted to press pause and go do that now, go ahead. If you want to keep watching until the end and then go, that's fine too. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to look for some objects around our house that have texture. Again, before you take your objects, like Miss Armstrong has a basket that she had to take all the things out of, you don't want to take all the things out until you have permission from a grown-up. So if you have permission from a grown-up to get these things, that's awesome. So the first thing I found is this basket, and it has some bumps, and I can hear and feel that texture. So this is going to be really important, and let me just show you why right now. Because we are going to do some texture rubbings. What that means is I am going to be using, let me get a good color so you can see. I'm going to be using paper, just computer paper is fine, and the objects that I find to make a texture rubbing. What that means is I rub the crayon on the texture and voila. It's so exciting. So the first thing we need to do is find some objects. So here are some examples. I found a basket with some holes. That's gonna have some circle texture. I found a plate in my kitchen that has these strange bumps, and I know that it has texture because when I rub my fingers, I can feel the bumps and I can hear them too. On my paper towel holder, there are some different textures here. It kind of looks like a flower, so I can't wait to see what that looks like when I do it on a texture rubbing. And I also found this, this holds my coffee, but there's some bumps here or some lines that are gonna make an interesting texture. So I can't wait to try this one out too. You wanna try and find things that are kind of flat. The round ones might be hard, but we're gonna try. You don't wanna get tricked. I also had this tissue box and I was like, oh, this will be perfect to find a texture. But the texture of this tissue box is smooth. It just looks like it has texture. And we will talk about that kind of texture next week. But we are trying to find things that have actual texture. Then what we're going to do is use our paper. So you're gonna need paper, you're going to need crayons, and you're gonna need a few objects that have some texture, and we are going to do a texture rubbing. Meet me at the next slide to see what that is.